Good evening, all. A warm welcome to the 45th edition of FAYA Potati associated with NASCOM. We have gathered here for yet another technology sharing platform of FAYA Potati. We expect the same ahead as well. Happy to see such an enthusiastic crowd, especially on this Hartal day. Those who are interested to know more on Angular 2. The journey of FAYA Potati was a successful one till now. So I thank especially audience and speakers for their support and to make it a success. To start off the session, as usual, we have Tech Bites. Tech Bites means the major advances in tools and technologies that has happened over last month. So I invite my colleague Liju for this.
Thank you, Emily. Good evening, everybody. I am myself, Liju George, working as a software engineer in FAYA. Let's have a look on the latest technological updates of the last month. Nowadays, most of the websites are image-driven, and the quality of the image really affects the look and feel and overall performance of the website. For this, Google introduced a new machine learning-based algorithm called Razor. With this technology, a low resolution image automatically converts to a high resolution image with the help by identifying nearby pixels, and Razor converts this to a high quality image. Currently, this feature is available on G+ by image sharing feature. Can anybody guess which desktop OS is this? Anyone? No. No. Eh? No, not Ubuntu. Actually, this is a browser developed by Opera. It's called Opera Neon. Let's have a look on the quick video about this. Now, YouTube introduced the social sharing features, like sharing the video itself in the app itself. So, user can share the video to an individual or to a group of members. By there, they can chat and even communicate within what happened or discuss about this video. YouTube itself create a short video regarding this. Let's take a look on what is this.
We are doing the 100 layers of bubble wrap challenge. I got my boy Jad with me.
And in this logo, I and L are replaced with colon and forward slashes. And that's all for this tech bites. Thank you.
Thank you, Liju. That's all about Tech Bytes. And due to Hartal, if any of your friends are unable to attend, can watch online. And next is the important session of FAYA Port 80, that is the relay of the month. Next is the important session of this FAYA Port 80, that is the relay of the month by Amal Shehu on Angular 2. Let us know more him with a brief introduction. Mr. Amal Shehu is working as a software developer in Neo IT Solutions. He's a Python developer who got introduced to TypeScript and Angular ecosystem by chance. Currently, he's a full-time Angular developer who is keen in optimizing workflow and exploring deeper into technology. Now I invite Mr. Amal for the next session.
Good evening all. Everybody know about the Angular 2. A lot of developers will be working on Angular JS. How many Angular JS developers are here? Oh, that's cool. I just asked. Actually, Angular 2 is a front-end client-side JavaScript framework. It consists of a lot of features and it is more faster than Hello. So when comparing your old version of Angular 1.5, there's a lot of features introduced to Angular 2. The main feature is no more scopes and anything is the zone.js is replaced by the scopes and everything. And also only distance the best practices from Angular 1.5. Then the change detection got improved. That has a lot of advanced features, so we can easily find what are the changes happening while we are coding. Then the ng upgrade. This is a library from Angular team itself because a lot of Angular JS applications are in production, so that need to upgrade it or convert it into Angular 2. So this ng upgrade library will help a lot because that library will help. That will provide a lot of tools that can be ported to Angular 2 as your time. It takes some time. Then it's an open source framework, so a lot of open source contributors are working on it. So the development speed is very fast comparatively. Yeah, the Angular 2. Its performance is when it's render, it is 2.5x faster, and it's in pre-rendering on the browser window. It got 4.5x faster. Overall, it's 10x faster than its past Angular JS. Okay, and the ES6 got introduced with the Angular 2 because ES5 has a lot of problems. Not problems actually. That's not compiled. The ES6 is compiled so that it always compile the language so faster. So we will get almost a lot of features. I will introduce the ES6 features in the following slides. So it's a cross-platform. It supports the progressive web apps. Actually, the progressive web apps means when we are running an application that will automatically auto-install on the device, and in the home screen the shortcut will be created. So it will be really helpful for normal users. For that, as a developer perspective, we will think only the performance and the developing tools and all that. But in the side of an user experience level, that's an amazing feature. And also, the progressive web apps provides a lot of new features. And it supports native. Native mean in the sense Ionic platforms a lot of native scripts are supported by the Angular system. So we can also port our normal code to any platform. In the sense of desktop, we can use Electron. Electron will convert our Angular 2 application to desktop or anything. I think a lot of developers, not a lot of people will use Slack desktop application. That's an example of Electron. Electron is converting that Slack application. So, templates. Templates in the sense, it is actually dynamic HTML. That's all. It comes with a lot of features like data binding, property binding, everything like that. The templates will render in the DOM, and that will generate a beautiful code, JavaScript code that can be run in modern browsers. Then Angular CLI. It's the most important feature of Angular 2, because for a developer, we can create application. Normally, when we start an Angular 2 application, we have to create the package.json file, and after that, we have to create the tsconfig and something like that. It's a step, because it's time consuming. So while we are using our Angular CLI, within steps, we can create Angular applications by typing just a command ng new the app name. There will be a folder will be created, and also the Git will be initialized, node modules will be auto installed. These settings can be altered by our terminal parameters. So, an ID. Actually, Angular 2, the developers normally supports Atom text editor, but we can use Sublime or Atom by installing some extensions must be installed on the editors, because the TypeScript also already provides a lot of features, auto completion, suggestions, everything is provided. So by including that extensions only, we can work better with Angular 2 applications. The code generation, in the sense, when we save the file, automatically this will generate JavaScript files according to our program, our HTML model, and this will work on all the virtual machines, normal latest virtual machines, Java script running virtual machines, and this will be very fast, and I can show that in a demo. And Angular Universal. Angular Universal means the program is rendered on the server side. You can use a Node.js or PHP or any backend. .NET Core can be used as a backend system. The system will render itself in the server, and the output will be given to the browser according to the user request. So that is very fast. And a real example for that is when we are copying a link from WhatsApp or anything and pasting in another, automatically the preview will be generated. That is from the server. That is rendered in the server, and output only showing there. That's happening there. Then the code splitting. Code splitting, in the sense, our framework consists of a lot of modules, lot of functions, everything. If we are going for a material design, an element consists of, maybe it's a navbar or something like that. But when loading, Angular automatically loads this. If we want to display the navbar in the server, they will display only navbar. All the other loading things will be inside the so in the server. So no problem with that. This is the architecture of the Angular 2 application. Here we can see the component, metadata, template, between that event binding and property binding, injector, and the modules, metadata directive. These are the important building blocks of Angular 2. If you learn all these things together, you can easily build Angular 2 applications at ease. So first we can talk about, I will explain all these components briefly soon. So I will give you an overview, a high level overview about this. The component is just a class. It's a ES6 class. Inside that we can declare our methods, properties, methods, everything can be included in that. The metadata is included using a decorator. Decorator function is actually connecting the template. In the Angular 2 concept, here is, if we are considering a module will consist of a template file, a CSS file, and the business logic contain the component file and a module file. In this module file, if you want to include material or anything, any external dependencies we have to import into the module file, and the providers also we have to include in that. All things I will explain. The property binding and data event binding, if I'm clicking on an event, that's an event binding. Angular will support they will incorporate with the existing browser features also while doing that. Then the modules. Module consists of the injection of including providers in that modules, everything. All the details are right in there. The injector is actually the instance of a service. When we create a service file, we will use the decorator at injectable. Then using that, we are able to include our service. If we want to get some data from the server, then it's easy. We have to create a service file that will be globally available for our application. Then that can be included via providers in a module. Then we have to call it via injector inside that. This is the high level architecture of an Angular 2 application. Injector is actually, they are saying like that it's a decorator actually, injectable. No, it's running in the, Oh, already everybody know about the TypeScript. It's actually the superset of JavaScript, and also it comes along with a lot of features, ES6 features, ECMAScript 16. So from the languages from the Microsoft and the framework is of Google. So it will provide a lot of features, and a lot of developers, a lot of engineers are working with the both systems, in the programming language and also in the framework. So the TypeScript come along with a lot of refactoring tools. I also already mentioned about the auto-completion and everything. That will really ease our programming skills, and within seconds we can easily complete a class or a method. Any things can be done at an ease. So interfaces in the sense, when we are creating, when we are programming with the strongly typed languages, we have to specify the types of the data. If I am getting an object via API and a value, I have to, if I want to use inside my application, Angular 2 application, I have to specify its interfaces, because a property must be, it's a string or a variable or a number or anything must be identified using the type. The interfaces are they are dynamically created at runtime, these values, and this will help to create a schema of the object we received, and it will give information to Angular 2 framework. Type inference. While we are coding, TypeScript support actually is a strongly typed language. So they won't allow other values to be passed on to the different data type. So the type inference feature is, there is a file called tsconfig file in the Angular application. There's a function called noImplicitAny that can be make us true or false. So doing that, we are able to use the any keyword in our application while programming. So we don't need to specify any other things, any other data type or anything. If we don't know what the variable is coming, what the data is coming, so we can use the any keyword inside that. So the next, the ES6 features. These are the latest features from ES6. The classes, actually everybody allowed, this actually support the object-oriented programming lovers, because the classes will help a lot. Inside the class we can create constructors, methods. These things really helpful for object-oriented programmers. And template literals. Here the ES6 comes with backticks. Backticks are really useful when we can use. I can do it by I will show you in an example. Because what? No problem, you can do it. You have to install the Babel. TypeScript is like superset of Java. The JavaScript. No problem, it will work. Because when we write JavaScript program itself in the TypeScript file, it will automatically compile. No problem with that. Yeah, the document, there are two types of languages are available with the documentation, Dart and TypeScript. JavaScript also. The TypeScript language come along with the ES6 feature. So it's this actually JavaScript, and there's some advanced features with ES6, and it's the superset of TypeScript is a superset of these things. So you can run the plain JavaScript can be used to run inside that, but by default Google is providing the TypeScript more importance to TypeScript, because in Dart also documentation is not proper. If you look to HTTP section, of the tutorial, HTTP and everything. You see that. That is also incomplete. A lot of things have to be. 2 weeks back only the material website launch. You see that now it is in a beta stage now. And also CLI has a lot of problem. 2 days back I have installed CLI and just created an app, but when I start the application it's not working because I don't know what happened. I just referred GitHub some git pages and I found that a dependency have been deprecated. So after that 2 days after 2 days they rectified the error. So its development is too fast. So we have to follow the GitHub all these things because already it's in beta stage, so we have to consider a lot of things. So the module loaders, these module loaders are working with Angular modules also. The export and import feature. I think the ES5 doesn't have this module import export feature. So the ES6 will cover all these features and it will give advantage to object-oriented programmers. And arrow functions. Arrow functions will give, when we write a when a method, if a subscribe method, we can use arrow to create curly braces, and inside that we can write our logic. So that's really amazing feature. Service worker, in the sense, if my app needs to a lot of push notifications, something like that, the background fetching data between the server, all these things, actually the service workers will, it's not work with the Angular DOM, it will create a, actually there is a problem where the JavaScript Node.js is a problem, multi-threading problem, single-threaded that is. So to bypass that issue, they are saying that if we use service workers properly, we are able to rectify the problem and all these things. Okay. It's a part of the progressive web apps, the service worker. It's the main feature of a progressive web app. So this is the main building blocks of Angular 2. If you understand all these concepts, you can easily learn and build Angular 2 applications. The first thing is module, then component, metadata, template, data binding, service, dependency injection. Okay, let's go to module. Actually, module uses ES6 syntax. If you see the example, here we can see that a home component, that is a home component TS file, that is exported, a class is exported, and after that it is imported to the app component. And this way we are exporting and importing our modules throughout the whole application. If I want to add a navigation bar, the navigation module must be exported from its module, and after that in the app module, the main bootstrapping module, inside that we can import that. Okay. The modules will give, actually it's give a documentation and the overview, what are the components, what are the external dependencies we are using with the specific component. Okay, so this helps a lot of, this will reduce a lot of pain. We can understand the code, what it is, and what are the ingredients this module consists of. That's really very, very useful. Components. Components instance, actually the components are simple ES6 classes. The component consists of import, export. Then will be a add decorator function. Add decorator, normally we use as add component. Add component, if you use that, the metadata can be injected, and all the details regarding to the HTML file, the CSS file, and but it's deprecated. Sometimes back the directive also there. Directives can be easily included in the metadata itself. Now it's in module file. We have to configure that in the module. Here we are in the components, the providers or services are injected. If I want to get some data into my in application, I have to create a service file. Inside that, using the injector, I have to import the service first in the component file. Then I have to call the inside the constructor. If I call that component, the service in that constructor, I can access the component methods inside the for if I want to get some data, I can use this constructor to get the data. It's in the program. You can see that here a class is home, a class is exported. Here implements on in it. On it in the sense that is, it's a lifecycle hook. Lifecycle hook means if I want to start some functions or anything when the app starts, In the ng on it, I can initialize that. I can just call this dot that function name that will be automatically invoked when the component is called. Okay. Here the properties are declared and the constructor is initialized to the services. In the ng on init this dot state service, the get message function is inside the service. So that is called here. And here's the same thing. I think you will get an overview when I am showing the demo. We can call in.
So I have
Okay.
I saw two like constructor and ng on it. So what is the difference between both of them? Shouldn't I write that this message inside the constructor?
Yeah, no problem. But when the application starts, the ng on it automatically runs. But in the constructor, we can easily use and the inside the constructor, the instance of the service will be created. The instances can be used in the whole component itself. That's the advantage. In the ng on in it, the functions, the constructor generated functions or anything can be initialized on the ng on it. That's the difference.
The standard way of providing initialization in Angular, because that method seems to be specifically made for it, ng on in it. So
Okay.
okay, so basically I think that that specific method is for that. I don't know.
Okay. You got it? Hello? Then the methods and properties. All things can be defined inside the constructor. But when we are going to talk about the services and everything, a lot of business logic can be ported from component to services. Actually, that will release a lot of burden. The service will handle all the business logic from the component. Okay. In the case of metadata, here we can see that component decorator is here. And inside that the selector is called home. Actually, in this name, we are going to call this component all over the application. So if I want to use this selector in anywhere, I have to use that in a tag inside any component. So it will work.
Throughout the application.
Yeah, it should be unique. Then only we can use that. Otherwise, this will provide some errors on runtime. The template URL is here. Here the HTML is located to the application. We can use the backticks also here, template, by typing without template, just a template keyword and backticks. Inside that we can use multi-line code. So it also will be used. Inline coding will be supported. So the decorator are just functions that will help when we are coding. They will help a lot. At component is there, ng or ng model is there. These are some inbuilt factory-made decorators that will help to ease our work. And we can add all the tasks, the metadata, all the information related to file to that area. The framework will automatically recognize what it is and what I have to do this. And if I am doing the template URL specified here, this will tell to Angular that you have to see the view of that file. If you want to render, the view of the file will locate in that location. That's it. This will connect the component, module, HTML, all these things. The method is the data is the important thing. Okay, HTML template. In this example, we can see that there is a class name, then it's a click event to execute some functions. After that, the variable is called, and in the past slide, I mentioned about the backticks and inline templating. This is shown here. You can see that without specifying a source file, we are able to we are able to include the HTML and all the styles and everything can be included in the metadata itself. Okay. Actually, the template, when we render, it will optimize the JavaScript code and it will show in the browser. And it also uses some native DOM elements and its properties. So that will also work. This will give ease to our development. Then also the shadow DOM with view encapsulation. Shadow DOM in the sense, it's actually it's not the original DOM. So if I am going to create a slider, just its basic architecture, it's the shadow-like thing will be showed here. It won't allow to bleed all the components from the DOM to the view. That's the advantage of shadow DOM. And view encapsulation has some modes. Actually, this is also for controlling the view in the browser and the DOM elements during the view. Here's the data binding. Data binding will help a lot when during Angular template development. Here it controls the flow between the component and the view and also the view to component. So here is interpolation can be used, double brackets. Inside that I can declare I can use get the value from the component. If I am declared a variable on the component, I can be used that variable inside the div tags using that interpolation. That's the main feature of main use of that. Then two-way binding. Real-time data we can view, and when we typing, the data will be displayed on the next fields where we are. So it's an inbuilt feature of Angular 2. I think it also has Angular 1 also have this feature binding. So property binding. Okay. Property binding in the sense the variable can be called and we can use in the things. Okay. And the event binding is all consist of on click, key up. These kinds of functions can be used inside that. Yeah, here the service come. When we create a service, first we have to include the injectable file inside that. In the injectable, the experiment is another model. That model consists of data structure in the format of a class or an interface. Now, so that can be the combination of that structure and the injectable, then we are able to create our API structure. If when we are getting data from the API, we have to create a structure, right? So that is here. And all the business logic from the component can be switched to this API. So we don't take any problems, and this will care of all the application level. It will help to work with that. And also one service will do only one specific thing. Okay, inside the class, there are also classes. Inside that, some methods will be specified. All according to that methods only, that will work. Then also the injectable should be used. Actually, it's an optional thing. We can also neglect the injectable, but by standard, Angular is supporting to use injectable, and also in the documentation they already mentioned like you can use the injectable for things, and if you use an injectable, then you are able to include inside the provider section of any of the module. Okay. So dependency injection. In the dependency injection, it's already also called as DI. We are able to include external components into our module. The main features is that. So we have to use the injector mechanism if I want to use the another variable or data from another class or method of another component can be injected to a module, and we can use in that module. For example, if I am developing a master detail page, a master page contains all the list of the data of user list, and if I click that master list, I have to navigate to the detail page. Then the data to be transferred to one place to another. We can use that by many methods. We can use event emitters and something like that. For that purpose, the dependency injection will do a lot of things. So I think we can start the practical section. Okay. internet. This is the method of doing or developing Angular 2 applications. The cider is called because first we have to create a class when we are creating a component. Then we have to import all the dependencies required by the class. If I want to use the passport or any other things we want to use it, then import it into the module file, then decorate class with the appropriate decorators we want to use with that. Then enhance with composition like what are the materials, what are the properties needed, what are the functions we want to use inside that. Then also repeat that with the subcomponents. Okay. Actually, I was going to just clone a repo from the Angular CLI and I will explain all the things. So it will be, otherwise it will be very difficult. In my system already the Angular CLI is do no. Hold on. So I am going to create a simple to-do. Hello. Hello. Yeah. A simple, just a simple application, Angular CLI application. For that, I have to do it like this. ng new my app. Hmm? Inside that? Actually, no. Inside that, from everywhere we can access. Something happened. My CLI has been uninstalled. I think so.
Not inside the my app folder.
No, actually, when I just give the name. ng new, the name the app will be created. Okay. This is a simple app I built already. Here, this is when we create a new. So here we can see a lot of files inside that .git folder, dist folder, e2e, node modules. Actually, the first thing we have to start with the package.json. Inside that, there will be the application name, then the CLI information. There is a package.json CLI file that will also include a lot of details. Then these are the core Angular 2 application dependencies. Then we have to include, this will be automatically include when we create a new application. Then the dev dependencies. These also consist of a lot of test framework. Jasmine is a test framework, and actually the node, the codelizer actually a linting tool that will help to improve our code. While coding, that will give a lot of information like what we have to do, what are the problems we have to rectify, and what's the problem within the line. That will be. Jasmine core is our testing framework, and Karma is our test runner. Karma will handle all the tests if you want to run everything like that. Then the TypeScript is installed. And the tslint.js configuration file will contain all the compiler settings, compiler linting settings. This will change when creating a new project. I am able to create a new tslint file that will helps to generate the style according to myself. If I want to show when I am here, you can see double quotes. I want to see only the single quotes will be allowed. I can be specified inside that. Then the important file is this is the testing files. Okay. The E2E contains all the what? Yeah. Yeah, actually codelizer will help when we are importing the codelizer. There will be some functions like there will be functions for the codelizer. The linter also had some features like that. So when we using, we can, if I am configured the codelizer function, this will ignore all the tslint settings and it will work like that.
Hello. Okay. So my question is, this TS-lint JSON is used by which module or which tool?
Actually, this tslint is actually used by the application when I am using an atom or editor. This will be the default linting tool first time. When I am using the codelizer, that will be changed to the codelizer settings, and you can access the functions written on the codelizer.
Is there, basically with the Atom there will be a TypeScript linter or?
Yeah, atom tslint is there. You can use that. The dist folders it consists when we are building an application. Here we can build up two types, production and development. In the production, we can run the application with AOT ahead of time. Normally we are using JAT just in compilation. So the AOT comes with a lot of strongly typed patterns that are written by the Google developers also itself. So it has it has a good type checking features, and also this is faster. When we want to bundle our application, this will help a lot. The AOT compilation, I think now they have compressed, and the app will only, the simple Angular CLI app will be on runtime only 22 KB using that. It's just a compiling option. When we build, there will be the bundles will be generated using to what bundler we are using. We can use the rollup or the system.js, webpack, anything can be used. According to the bundler, there will be the dist folder will be generated. Inside that, the working application can be viewed.
By default.
Actually, now I am using an Angular seed. Angular seed, it's by Minko. This comes a lot of advanced features like linting, and also I got a lot of scaffolding. When application structure, they are following the Google recommended design patterns. I recommend, now I am using system.js 2.0 because of that seed is following that thing. They are trying to update to rollup.js. Rollup will support more advanced features, I think so. So system.js or the rollup. Actually, there are three bundlers we can use: system.js, rollup, and the
Tool, or is it a distribution tool?
It's actually, yeah, it will bundles all our JavaScript, CSS, and HTML along with, and this will ship to the browser DOM. That will execute there.
Generating the border.
Now, actually, I am using System.js followed by that seed, but when the rollup comes out, I will move to that. The Webpack 2 is on beta. That is also a good one, but I think when we starting, we have to use the System.js. So we can understandable code is there, System.js with that. And when you got a platform with Angular 2, you are able to code and you are okay, then move to rollup or Webpack. Both are beneficial.
Boilerplate will be different from what we Angular.
Yeah, that will be changed according to the bundler. In the sense, in when we are running the same app in a production mode, we can see only just one bundle file and one simple files will change. Yeah, it's a default tutorial, right? It's a Google recommended tutorial. They are following the normal System.js pattern. So we can change it as our wish, no problem with that. Inside the source folder, we can see there's an app folder, assets folder, environment, and index file, main.ts, polyfills, etc., tsconfig, everything, etc. This is also, we can see the compiler options here. The TS configuration file is located here. I already mentioned about something called no implicit any at the beginning to use any data type over the web application. So we can use that thing here. And here we can see a lot of compiler options that can be modified. So now we are using the default settings with this. Now the styles is here. Inside the styles, I am going to import the material into my application. At import, using at import function, I am able to include the CSS file what I want to use inside. Then the polyfills are actually, I told you the scopes and everything are removed from this Angular 2. The zone will support. This will helps to ignore all the scopes and everything from the previous its predecessor. This will generate all the codes we want to write. Without the codes and the syntax, everything can be analyzed from here. And the ESX features, everything can be included. But we are going without the polyfills and select polyfills, we can reduce our app size dramatically. A lot of improvement can be achieved from that. The main.ts file consists of app bootstrapping. The where my application wants to, from where I want to start my application. This is the place. So here I am using the app module. App module can be the first place to start our Angular application. So if there are a lot of modules, we can change according to our wish. Okay. This is the index.ts file. Here all the things are generated dynamically when we are adding components to it. And I am able to use the meta tags here. So it will be really easy for us. There are environment files that will help to when I want to choose production mode or the development mode. Here is my component. Here we can see that app component, app HTML, the test file. Now we can ignore that. And the component file and the module file. This is a basic Angular app component looks like. These are the main structures. This is the structure, how a component is. Inside the component file, we can see the component is imported, then that decorator is used here. At component decorator, inside this is the method. We can see where the CSS is. And here we can see a property is declared and it's set to a string called appworks. By using interpolation, and it will when the app runs. This is the important file of our So if I am going when component for that, there will be a CSS file for metadata, everything will. I have to import that into my. Okay. Hello. In here you can see the browser module, form module, HTTP module. These are default modules we have to create. That will be already generated when we are creating an application using Angular CLI. Okay. These things must be included, and it's already included when we generating an application using Angular CLI. Then in the provider section, if I want to include my service over here, I have to import the service file here. Then I have to give the service name. Then this will help to add the providers with my application. App component. Okay. Here we move to the next section. Next section means my next commit. Here I have modified the app component a little. I have included the lifecycle hook ng on it here, and I just created some properties, a title. Actually the title was already there, I just modified it to GitHub profile search, something like that. And then I have created a variable with any data type, GitHub user, and error message. And in the constructor, I have created and initialized the GitHub user as an object. Okay. On the ng on in it, the github.user.user set as false already. So that will help when we are using the API, something stuff like that will be helpful. Then I am calling the get user information function here, the method, and search user. This is the second part, I just created it. In the next, we are going to create its service. You can see two files are created here. One is service file and one service.spec. Actually that I am generated using Angular CLI. When generating a component using Angular CLI, actually they will also create some test files including with that. So inside the services, you can see that this is the service file. Here I am going to get data from the API. Here that injectable and HTTP, these are default libraries should be included when we are working with APIs. After that, the anti-injectable decorator should be used, and the get service class has been created. Inside that, there is a property called username. Here, this is set as string and initialized in the constructor as an empty string, because when in the future, when I am going to do the HTML file, the template file, the value will be passed to it via a function. So this will get updated, and I will show things. This is the client ID and client secret I obtained from this GitHub repo. Actually, there is an authentication system is there. We can easily generate our client ID and for a specific URL or an application. After that, I have called the HTTP here. When you are going to get or post data on an Angular from a API, the first thing you have to do is you have to import the HTTP response. Then if you want to get data, you have to initialize that on the constructor via variable. Then here you have to create two methods I have here. One get user and another one is the update user. In the get user, you can see this dot http dot get. This is the default function in the HTTP. And inside that I am using this is an ES6 advantage. We can concatenate strings using quotes and plus. In this case, I can use the dollar and the bracket. Inside that, I can use a variable. So, and also the whole string should be inside a backtick. That's the thing. Here, this is the GitHub API. This is the username variable I get from the front end on the view page. And this is the client ID. And this is the standard parameters to obtain data from the GitHub. Then I have to map that response to a JSON file. Then this is the comment outlines are actually for debugging purposes when I want to check whether the data is received on my side or not. So if I uncomment this will display data on the debugger. Okay, then the update user string. So let's move to next commit. Here you can see that I have called that service I have already created inside this using the import keyword, and then I am calling it inside the constructor. This is the method how to use a service inside a component. Inside that, after that, I am calling this get user information. The search user function actually does is when they get data from the template, the input from the template, this will automatically pass the data to service. Then that will search for the API according to the string. Then we will get the obtained result. In this get user information, here we can see that I already mentioned about an arrow function on the ES6 syntax. That is, you can see the demonstration here. The data, on the subscribe, I can get all my data from the API can be viewed with this data, and this is stored to github.github-user.user. This is a property. The data will be stored inside that, and this is for error is using here. Okay. So we have completed our component section. So let's move to a view how it's look like.
Hmm? Okay.
So, guys, let's go for a tea break. So I invite Murali for a quiz session.
Hi all. Just fresh up. Like anyway, we are getting a nice coffee from Cafe Coffee Day. So meantime, so this time anyway, we have planned for a expected a 150 crowd, but due to Hartal, there is a slight variation in the crowd. So anyway, for that's why we have decided to go with simple questions, simple quiz program, so that you can give easy answer very easily. And those who know the answer, please raise your hands. Don't tell anyone sitting just next to you. If you want the complimentary gift from FAYA, please raise your hand. I'll come to you and you can give me the answer. Okay. So the first question, the simplest question in the entire quiz. What was JavaScript initially named? What was JavaScript initially named? Not the exact answer. And like this kind, if you're telling the answer, you won't get the prize. You have to raise your hand. I'll come to you. You can tell. Okay. Okay, it's okay. It's okay. And that is not the right answer. Even before they are giving that name, there is another name for that JavaScript. Options, not, I will not give you an option. Yeah, 1 second. No, not. Anyone else? No. What was JavaScript initially named? No. Any other answer? Just simple guess. No, not exactly. Simple but powerful. But any other guess? So I'll give you a clue. Like you know about a brand, an apparel brand in Pattam. For those who are coming from Pattam or Trivandrum city, there is a no. The name is similar to that apparel showroom. It's a world brand. Like it's a international brand. No. So if you change one single letter from that branded showroom, you will get the answer. So shall I? If you change the single letter from that, I said that it's an apparel showroom in Pattam Junction. It's a world-class international brand. If you change that single letter from that word, you will get the answer. It stands, I'll say the answer, the first letter of M. Yes. Can you spell it? Yeah, it's Mocha. Before you said it's Moch, what he said. So the fire pen goes to, it's Mocha. I'll tell you, the first called Mocha, but renamed LiveScript in September 1995, and later JavaScript in the same month. So the Java they have renamed it in LiveScript in the second stage. Okay, so the answer is Mocha, and your good name? Faisal. Yeah. So that is the easiest option which we have. Anything and everything we Google it. So next time, please don't repeat it. Okay, because okay. So the second question, the first graphical browser. Don't tell the answer. Please raise your hand. The first graphical browser for the www was named dash, filling the blanks with suitable answer. Mosaic, right answer. He's always in every day, every session he is getting one pen. Please, we have to do something. Okay. Then the third question.
Introduce. I'm Sharath from Experian Technologies.
He's a close friend of, FAYA. And the third question, what was created in March 2006 by Jack Dorsey? Twitter. That's, so your name? Kamal from UST. So there was other guys with him, not only Jack Dorsey, there was Evan Williams, Noah Glass and Bistone. So who were during the initial stage of Twitter's forming. So the last question, who is known as the internet's own boy? So, internet's own boy.
Aaron Schwartz. Aaron Schwartz.
So it was Aaron Swartz. I think recently they have got a, they have come up with a movie called the same name, like the internet's own boy, Aaron Swartz. So if you just Google it out.
Even you had us.
So thank you. That's for. Yeah.
There was a quote of Aaron Schwartz right over there. So basically, he was a very good programmer. Okay. So basically, hello. So basically, Aaron Schwartz was a good programmer and a prodigy. He created Reddit and in RSS feeds protocol when he was 11 years old, and there is a small story behind it. The specification core authors asked this person via phone, "Can you come for the meeting?" Then his response was, "I have to ask my mother's permission." Then they were like, "Why do you have to ask your mother?" Because school will not be over by next Friday. So then, "Are you in school?" "Yeah, I am 11 years old." That was what happened when he was creating this standard. And unfortunately, this guy had to suicide. It was actually, the reason was he hacked a university. I don't remember which university it is. MIT, okay. So basically MIT's research papers were hacked and put online. Unfortunately, there was trace back to him, and a lawyer went on just to accuse him and put him back behind the bars. So in response, he actually went and suicided.
Actually, he was they punished for around 27 years of imprisonment, and then that is he actually stood for open and free knowledge sharing, information sharing. So and yeah, it was very unfortunate that he has to. Yeah, he was also an internet activist. So that is why yeah. So that is why he is known as the internet's own boy. Okay. So Amal. So if you have any questions related to the first session, you can ask right now before you continue to the second session.
Okay. Hello.
Nothing? So
Service. Yeah, that is important. It is when we are going to the Angular HTTP library. Can I show it? There's, it's actually a library. Inside that there is a lot of methods. Get, post, everything related to HTTP is mentioned inside that type. No, not that type. No, 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 no. GitHub user. Type in the sense. You mean a data type or? No, no, it's not a data type. It is actually a library, HTTP library. Small one. Oh, that is the this thing. Yeah, this is the instance of that HTTP library. This small letter HTTP is the instance created in the constructor. This is the library name, HTTP. Yeah, but they are like this. They are following this pattern. After including the normal HTTP or response, anything from here, then they will initialize in the constructor. After then only we can use this inside a class. If we have multiple class inside our component, then we have to specify initialize inside that constructor. We are just creating an instance of that object. That's it. Simple. Okay. Yeah, it is accessible. It's not a property actually. But if I do like that, if I initialize in this is in the constructor, I can use this overall in this class. No problem. All the methods we are creating that can be used. Yeah, yeah, it's a constructor parameter though, so the constructor can be used inside the class. Overall the service. In this way, excuse me once again. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, actually some syntactic triggers are provided by the framework itself, so that we have no need to worry about that the old type JavaScript. So, and also this is TypeScript. This had a lot of advanced features. So if you want to create same JavaScript inside that, no problem. But yeah, all the methods can be accessible inside the same in the class. Actually, this is the same thing. Okay. Got it? Oh. Here I am getting the value using the subscribe function. Here, first thing I have to import the service here, that service file here. After that, I have to initialize the same thing we done with HTTP has to be done with the constructor itself here. After that, you can use the access modifier as you like, public or private, no problem. Then you can use the subscribe function. And inside that, all the data obtained from that API will be shown here, we will get here. So we can assign it to anything we want. Yeah, this is an arrow function. Okay. We're just calling, yeah, this is the syntax. We can use the arrow functions to use to get the data like this, and we can use it anywhere inside this component. Actually, the error and data are not functions. These are the data we are getting from that instance created from the class. You got it? These are the data we obtained from the API. I think you should need a debugger and want to see what the data comes here and in that console, right? Then you will get an overall idea of that. Yeah. Yeah, you have to create the variables according to, because the TypeScript has some strongly typed things. So the variable you have to assign inside the class, that's the proper format. Or otherwise you have to create an interface or class. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. We will import the GitHub the service inside the component we are using. If I have another component is there in the app component, not like this. If another called user component, I want to use the same service here. So I have to import the GitHub service in the top layer, and I have to initialize that in the constructor. The same thing can be achieved there. The same data I can use there. Okay. No need to make any get call. Just call the subscribe function there. No need to make any get. This is globally we can access this service throughout the application. You just have to, there's a module file, you see that? In Angular 2, actually everything works as like a module, everything. Components are submodule, parent, child, that kind of relationship is followed throughout the application. But when we start an application inside the module, if I want to use here, you see that the providers in the ng module decorator inside there is a provider. You have to specify which service I have to use. If other service I am getting the details of a person from LinkedIn, you have to specify other service, anything like this. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you will get the same object. Otherwise, you have to initialize that the constructor and you have to use like that. Not a problem. Instance. Let's go to the view page. I didn't got time to create tags for each commits, so I am doing this manually. Now this is your HTML page. Here I am using material design for this. Angular material is in beta now. We can access a lot of autocomplete is not finished yet, but we can get the cards, some buttons, everything model, everything like that. Here and also I am using Flex layout now. It's a npm package. It's released I think 21st or something. 2 weeks or 3 weeks back. They released the npm version of Flex layouts. So without CSS, we are able to create any component. We can structure and position because for a backend developer, centering a div may be a difficult problem. So this Flex layout and simple commands that will really help to align our div or anything as we want. Here I just create an empty card. Inside that there is a title using interpolation, and the empty input container, this is actually a text box. That's the syntax. Inside that empty input, this is the material syntax, Angular material design. The placeholder is GitHub username, and the ng model is, this is two-way binding. It can be remembered as something like banana in a box. You can see that the structure is like that. Okay. After that, the variable, actually in the constructor we have already created a variable called an empty object we have initialized, GitHub user. I'm calling as a property GitHub user.username, so it will work. In this GitHub user.username, we are going to store the value obtained from the when we type. Okay, here is an event handler, event binding is there. Key up. When I press typing, automatically it will trigger the search user function. What the search user function do is it will automatically pass the data to service. Then the service will attach all these with the client ID and the client secret password. It will fetch the data from the API, and this will pass to our controller from using I will show it. Okay. Here, this is the working. After that, this is GitHub user.user. You remember in the constructor, in the function, I have after the subscribe function, I have saved all the data variable into a GitHub.user. This .github.user. So the data from the API is already available in the GitHub.user. So the simple thing, I can easily get the username or receive it from the data. So this is a card, and inside the source, by using interpolation, I have just specify the URL I got from the data. Okay, like just let's try it's working or not.
So there is one question from an online viewer. It is like how to hide the client ID and secret.
Actually, we don't share these public things. Actually, for just demonstration, I am sharing this information as a demo. That will be on your code is right. So you can hide it from some purpose, some way. No need to specify it publicly. I just created for a demo purpose. You can encrypt the data from using any of the libraries and hide that. That's not a problem. From production build. Yeah. Yeah, actually there are some mechanisms for doing that. Now I am doing like this. In this for demo example, I am doing like this. But yeah, that will be we will do something to share to hide that. Our server means, can you clarify? No problem, just
Not in this case, but there are cases where we have to store some of such keys or passwords in the JavaScript. But as he said, there is no way to hide it. And you said there are some mechanisms. So if it will be really good if I can know that. That's why I'm asking.
yeah, actually normally no one will do like that, sharing this client ID and client secret password over this kinds of session. This is a mock account, and just I have created for a sample demonstration for simplifying my purpose. So Yeah.
Have such a case, if I want to do it in the same way, if I want to do the same application in Angular, what I will do is I won't be sending the query directly to the GitHub. Instead, I will be sending it to my server, and my server will be requesting the GitHub so that I can hide my keys. So it is the way in my mind. So what is my question is, we have some other ways to do that in our Java.
So I will explain. You can use some mechanism is called URL params. By using URL params, when we passing URL or sending data, we can specify what the data is to be transferred and how that has been transferred, any object or anything like that. Inside that, where we can use, I don't remember the exact thing, we can apply some format inside. The framework already supports some encryption purposes, so that we are able to hide these things and we can securely get the data from it. Yeah, they will use codes to prevent these things.
Correct. So in right. So if we are implementing everything, for in this example, if we are implementing everything at the server side, it will be a replica of what we are doing at the client side. So there is no point in using Angular here. Then you can use a simple page where you just pull out the data and show it there. So that's what I said. GitHub could be a wrong example for this. But for most of the services, commercial services, they offer the keys specific to your domain, or there will be some way of to refresh and get the tokens and get access to it. So that's how. But I still believe that hiding something, I mean, trying to encrypt or do anything secret at the client side is not a good idea.
Actually, okay, you got it? Hmm? Yeah, it supports. So that you can easily, just when you're typing, the data will be displayed on any component. Um, if you use event emitters or something like that, this will be more powerful. In another component also, we can use the data. Mm-hmm. Uh, yeah, it's actually the structure changed. A lot of improvements came. The change detection and this binding itself, a lot of syntactic sugars has been added, and ES6 standard has come. So the formats have changed. I don't know about a clear idea what are the changes between these exactly, but changed a lot. No, no. The NG model already supports a two-way binding. If you use a variable and just print the GitHub user downside, automatically this will display the data. Form module is already bundled with the default Angular CLI. It will be already imported in that. Yeah, from the scratch you are developing, you have to do like that. But using Angular CLI, it's really simple. All the things will be imported automatically inside that. So let's take a try if it is working or not. Here the light server we are using for development purpose to run the Angular 2 application. Okay, this is working and it can be viewed on localhost 4000. So it's coming. Yeah, it's working. I didn't made any arrangements for the CSS fixes all that, so that's why they're looking like this. Working. So can you search any other name? S. Vignesh. Three, one. My. Boy. Yeah, it's mine. Does anyone want to check? RE. His photo is not coming, but illa. Here you can see we are passing the data. This is the request API URL. Inside that the Raja Rahim, the client ID and user, everything like that. Then we get the response data is like this. This is the link of the avatar and the company name, blog ID, bio, everything we will get as an object. This is what we are saved into that variable in our component, and that is displayed. So I will show you one more thing. There is a command comes along with ng GitHub pages deploy. Actually, this is a feature. This is actually what do is it will automatically create GH pages branches on the GitHub, and also this will push all the build folder to that. So you can see how it works. This will take some time. Already that application has been pulled to the GitHub server, so that is accessible to anyone. So you can also check by using this URL. So within half an hour or 20 minutes, we are able to create an application, develop it, and deployment. It's already done without any cost. That's the main advantage of using Angular 2, GitHub, all the features along together. So, okay, it's working. Okay. If I want to create another component with this, I will show how that is incorporated. If I want to create a header with my application, I will show that. So that if you want to create a component, you just use this command, ng generate navbar. Already that component has been created. So let's check how it is. Navbar has been created, and also this navbar component has the navbar CSS, HTML, test file, and the component has been generated. And if I want to, but here's the advantage is when using CLI, this will automatically registered in our app module. This is our app module, main module. Here the navbar component has been added inside that, and the imports has been done. So when we are using seed or something like that, we won't get that. We have to manually, we have to import, and we have to do it. This will, if I want to show this on my main application, I have to do like this. In this component, I can see its selector name is app navbar. So I have to copy it. Just go to my app component.html. Before all that, just create a tag like this. ng serve. It is also similar to npm serve, npm start. So it's working now. Yeah, navbar works. The component has been added. And after that, you have to do, if you want to include a material design based, I will show you. Navigation bar. This is the official material site. It's not the old material that we are using with AngularJS. It's different and it's new. Structure is already created to connect and work with Angular 2 based applications. Here you can find a lot of components that are used for our application. Here the layout, form controls, navigation. Here the toolbar is here. Yeah, this is the toolbar. This is my basic menu. Let's move to the toolbar. See, here they showed the HTML file that has been used on the in HTML file, a view of our application. Then the TS, this should be included inside our component file, and the CSS file. When we are using Flex layout, we don't need to care about the CSS, all these things. If I do like this, actually it is a npm package. It contains, if I want to center a div or something, arrange everything, you can use the Flex layout. The Flex, the major advantage is when my apps in production mode, when the screen size changes, if I am declared or created inside a div Flex, automatically this will adjust the size. When I show that example here, this will automatically adjust the size according to when I using the debugger here. You can see the size is automatically stretching according to the view. I achieved that using this flex. So for using a nav bar, just use yeah, it's simple actually. Just copy this. In this way, this don't work because we didn't import any material or flex with this. So let's try maybe. Sometimes it works, but some problem. So one thing here is the module file. The module file is the important thing. Then only we can import the flex and all the components related to an. Okay, so I have to generate a module file for that respective. For that, ng, no need to use the generate always. You can use g also. Ng g module. Give the same name as the component name. Navbar. It's already created. See, the module file has been created. Inside that, I have to add this material. And when adding material, we have to also we have to import it. The material module consists of a lot of modules, something called the navbar, the sidebar, card, anything like that. So for importing all of the things together, we have to use this mechanism dot for root. If you use this, you can easily import all these things. But if you import all the components individually, this will improve the app performance, and the app loads only what the components you need. So that's the main advantage. You will get the maximum code coverage on this. Yeah, it has come. Yeah, it's actually a transparent navbar. We got it already. Okay. Actually, if you are going to start a Angular 2 project, but you have only a minimal knowledge of it, but you have to start with Angular Seed. Actually, I'm just giving a high-level overview of Angular Seed. Angular Seed is something, this is developed by a developer called Minko. Actually, this consists of a lot of features. What you have to do is, you have to just clone this repo and use, these are the features already that provided in the seed. This, you can I-89 support. That means when you're developing a web application, the internationalization is a pain, because some users, if a user want to access that from China or any other language, it's very difficult for English. So the internationalization, if we include that, the language will be switched. So it's an important feature. Then yeah, it is statically typed. Production build, a lot of production build tools are available, because if you want to run some test, coverage test, the Istanbul is already inbuilt with this. So you can do the coverage test, and Jasmine is incorporated. You can control all that using Karma. Then ahead of time compilation support rather than the JIT. So it's an advanced feature. So actually when we want to build a new application, adding these modules is a headache because we have to choose what we need, what we have to include. By using this seed, you will get all the things you need. If the next process is tree shaking, production with rollup. They already added rollup bundler, webpack bundler along with this seed. So you can you have to run only commands to run. The tree shaking is the process of removing all the unwanted elements. When I am clicking a module or something, I just want to see what it is and just the minimum features of that. No need to import all the component related subcomponent and everything. This tree shaking feature will help to reduce your app from 4 MB to, I think I have reduced a 6.5 MB app to 400 KB when loading. This will help us a lot while loading when server.
The cherry pick each of the library, we can import the entire thing and the system will automatically
remove all the unwanted things. So that will improve the performance. Okay, if you are using closure compilers with this, without that, that will really improve the performance a lot. Then development server, live reload. Actually, we are using live reload now. Now auto prefixers in CSS lint support that I actually mentioned. Docker support. If you completed all the development, you can make your code as a container and you can ship to any virtual machine or anything like that. So it's simple to start. He's one of the Angular core developers and he's also contributing on Angular CLI. But my suggestion is when you are starting a project, don't go with CLI now because it's in beta stage. A lot of dependencies may change day by day. So this is actually stable now. If you want to start a new project, please go through it. And this is following all the guidelines followed by the Google. And the Codelizer is here. Codelizer is something like when this is not an Codelizer is not using with this. If I am no any error message, that will show the exact link. Okay. So I think you all get an overview, a high-level overview of Angular. What is Angular? I think so. If you have any doubts, please ask me.
Angular did an officially supported.
Yeah, but Google developers are now they are supporting. They are telling like this Codelizer and seed is good. You can go with it. No problem. He is also a Google head developer. GD is actually. So a lot of people are, and also another Angular class is there. They are also creating seed project for server side and also for client side. So that will be really useful.
Isn't it? When we have the navbar as a component, and then we used a module. So I didn't understand why do we need a module? Why don't we write that code in the component TS file itself?
I will explain. That can do without component TS file. We can do that. But the why we used the module? If I want to import external dependencies like material or anything can be added to this specific component, I have to use the module file. Then only I can work with this external dependencies for this component. That's why I am using this module here. You can also create a separate component as a subcomponent or something like that, and you can directly import and export to the specified component file.
Like the same code where we have imported the material module, couldn't we add it in the component.navbar.component.ts file itself? Would that work?
You told that you would like to import the material and everything here. No, it is not possible. You have to check the add component decorator. This ng module decorator has some inbuilt features. This will allow us to import a module declarations. There will be providers to add services. So this will take all the responsibilities to import, export, or declare any kinds of components. We have to, if we want to import external components with our application, we have to specify it inside the module file. So if we are going to app module.ts, here you can see that my GitHub service is imported here, and inside the provider the GitHub service is added, so that this is globally available for my Angular 2 application. Because I am bootstrapping this app component first. This will consist all the details related to that. Okay, if you want to add a material or any external dependencies, you have to import it, and inside the ng module import the file you want to use. It's important thing, the module section. Actually, it's a simple ES6 class. This it's used for module export feature has been introduced by ES6 now. The same thing is here. Okay. Hmm.
Components and that hierarchy. Can you just tell me the hierarchy?
So the first thing here there is a problem always when we are passing data from a sub component to a higher level component, right? In AngularJS, AngularJS developers will face that issue. That's the problem. Actually, it's a pain. But here, there is a lot of event emitters, a lot of features are here, so that we can able to pass the data to another component using some reactive extensions are here, so that you can pass the data to the upper level component.
Say it the same module
No.
of the project. Like there was app.module.ts. That is the entry path, right?
What? Yeah. Here, when our app is bootstrapping at this place, here our app module is connected.
So this becomes the higher hierarchy. Okay.
Yeah.
Number of components
Okay.
itself will be having submodules, or modules are different. I mean, app module, and in the same hierarchy we will have other modules, or inside the app module we can have several modules. Actually, module inside that will be having components, right? So a module can have several modules.
You can see here I have created a navbar as a separate one. Like that, you can create a shared folder. Inside that, all the shared components can be included in that side. Okay. This way you can access the elements like this. In the case of hierarchy, you are saying that you want to pass the data from a child component to parent component, right? That can be achieved using event emitters or directives. Inside the directives, you can pass the data. Just use input and output functions.
Module. Right.
Yeah.
Having 5-6 modules, then I need the same service. I have to put that in the providers of all the modules.
No need that. If you want, you have to globally, in the app module, you can see the app module is connecting all the modules. You see that.
If I am having a service which is to be used in the complete app, I can inject it in the, I can declare.
Yeah, exactly. You have to use that inside the providers of, then the GitHub service will be already available to all the
service in only one module, then in that case I can inject it through the module.
You have to create a module file for that specific component, and inside that, you have to do that.
TS is the main hierarchy, and inside that we'll be having many.
Yeah, some sub formats will be there.
A service for all the modules, then I will be putting it in the app.component.ts.
Yeah, this is the starting point of the top level. Here, the declared modules and will be available for all the components. But sometimes, when I was using the seed, I faced a lot of problems. This hierarchy was not obtaining properly, not getting. So, for that such scenarios, I have to manually import this kind to that specific component.
But I'm having a menu, and normally I will do it in the root scope thing like that in the Angular 1.
Oh.
is a module, and there inside there will be a component, right?
Mm-hmm.
Click, and that is to be managed by a component in another module. Is that possible? Something like that. So I'm confused with these things. So the structure, I'm not very well used with this structure. That's
Actually, the one thing is the scope has been removed. It's removed with the zone.js. You see the zone. The zone has been already replaced the scope thing. So is the hierarchy is like from the top order. When you bootstrapping an application, there will be an app module. Inside that, you want to globally access a service or a component or a module. For that, you have to do it there. Then you can call it is using just importing the module file also. But some external features are there. If I want to transfer from data, I will show you a simple example. If there is a list and user list, you will click, there will be a page opens, and that is a subcomponent. You have to assume that subcomponent contain the master details of the page. Here I will do like this. I will share that via a URL. Is the one chance if I want to pass the data to that side. Otherwise, I have to do is something called event emitters. I have to use the event emitters there. Inside that event emitters, I can easily call the object from the another component. The next method is input and output. In the output, you have to specify a variable and use the directive. Directive means here the app navbar. Inside that, you have to the square bracket. You have to create the value and just what is this inside the component. The value, if the value is present inside the app component, that value will be stored here and it can be accessed in the app navbar. Okay, the value can be transferred from here to here.
clarification. I have a logout button which is in the nav bar. Okay.
Okay.
But I have written this authentication things in a separate module and separate components things like.
Okay, you have created the auth guards and everything. Okay.
Separate module. Okay.
Okay.
If I want to get that particular click in my component, then I have to use something called event emitters. That is the way to transfer data from a component to other component or modules.
Yeah, you have to. You see, I have imported the navbar using a directive. You can create a variable that called data in the square bracket. In square bracket, just create a data, and you are using this in the app component. You will be globally added that data service inside the providers. So you will get the data from the app component, and you can transfer this to navigation bar. Inside the navigation bar component, you will get all the data you passes through this, and you can do anything with that. Okay. I think you got it. Yeah, you have to refer a lot about event emitters, input and output functions. So you have such experience with AngularJS, you can easily pick up with that things. Okay. Yeah, event emitters can be used to just if I want to pass the data to another component. Actually, I don't know more about Angular. Angular. Okay, time over. So it's okay. You can personally ask me some doubts. I am already in GitHub, so we can share our thoughts. And I want to learn how these things worked in Angular in the previous version. So let's share the information and let's create a repository and contribute on that. So can you finish? Thank you.
So let's conclude. With this 3 months experience, I think Mr. Amal has, it was really an informative session. So as a token of appreciation, I would like to invite Mr. Deepu Esna, the Managing Director of FAYA India, to present a certificate. There is a small gift also. So I invite Radish to hand over that gift.
It's a hand-drawn picture, pencil drawing.
So thank you for your patience. Follow us on FB page and Techno Geeks to keep updated. Thank you. Have a nice day.